Sitting here in the shed, making some stuff today. You can see back there on the laser, I've been busy. I don't know if you can see it or not. The angle may be wrong for that. Uh, just reading some news stories online, which I know better than to do because it always makes me mad. But here's what we got going. I come from a family who has always taken service to the country pretty seriously. In fact, doing genealogical research, I've found that my family actually served in the country's military before it was a country. We came to the country, as far as I can tell, about 1698, 1699. My great, whole bunch of times removed, grandfather served in one of the Massachusetts regiments in the Revolutionary War, and we've served all the way up through that time, up till now. My youngest son is serving right now. The problem with service to the country is you cannot serve the good folks without serving the bad folks. And to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of the rights and protections that this country and the U.S. military have protected for you, and just being in the country in general, you really don't deserve them. A lot of you. Because quite frankly, y'all don't know how to act. Your behavior is bad. We started out, I don't know, probably 65 years ago, so this is basically the culmination, or not the culmination, unfortunately, of 65 years of grooming. Back in the early years, after World War II, those folks had all survived through World War II, World War I, the Great Depression, so on and so forth, and they decided that their kids weren't going to have to go through a lot of the things that they went through. So, as just like everything else that humans get an idea about, we have a good idea, and then a whole bunch of folks jump in and take over the idea and make a good idea ridiculous. We started out with a lot of things. I moved through a lot of that stuff. I'm 58 years old here pretty soon, and I've seen a lot of it happening. Didn't buy into a lot of it. Didn't buy into most of it. We started out when I was a kid with "don't spank your kids." My parents didn't believe in that. Because if you spank your children, you're gonna damage their delicate psyche. I think you may be aiming high if you're damaging their psyche. Then we moved into you can do and be and say anything you want. Well, I got bad news for you. There still should be manners and politeness in society. There's a way you should be behaving. And no, we're not stepping on your individuality. It's just a polite society, plain and simple. To those of you who are out running around destroying things right now, especially destroying things that you don't even know what you're destroying, I saw a monument to an abolitionist torn all apart. Apparently, y'all don't know what the abolitionist movement was. Blame your teachers for that, and blame yourself for not figuring it out on your own. I see a monument torn apart that was dedicated to an all-black regiment that actually served with great distinction, and you destroyed their monument. I see people out destroying private businesses and private property and government property, which is public property. It belongs to all of us, not you. Let me clue you in on something. The only thing you have a right to destroy is something you own. You don't have a right to destroy public stuff. You don't have a right to destroy private businesses. You're hurting your own communities by destroying businesses. You've got people from that community who work in that business and actually depend on it for their living, and here you burn businesses down. Ridiculous. Y'all just need to learn how to act. I'm so angry about this, reading headlines and things like that, that I don't even know where to go with this. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous the way you're acting. So, I guess I'll just leave it at that. You don't get to be anything you want if what you want to be is a criminal. And that's all you are if you're a vandal and a looter and a destroyer of property. You don't get to shoot at people just because you're mad. You don't get to take over whole blocks of cities, because I got bad news for you. You're starting a military insurgency as far as I'm concerned. So, act of war, as far as I'm concerned, on all of that. So, to you who are acting that way, knock it off and grow up. This is not the way to get what you want. You're just proving that you're a spoiled little brat who's not getting what you want, so you're going to throw a tantrum. We have a lot of police officers on the street, hundreds of thousands of police officers on the street, local and state, and so on and so forth. They respond to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of calls a day and have contact with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of citizens. One of those goes bad, which it did go bad, and that guy's going to get his in the system. So not all those guys are bad. One out of hundreds and hundreds of thousands. I don't know what you people are thinking. I really don't. Not all cops are bad. Not all people of any skin color are a criminal. But the ones who are getting the attention right now are making certain communities look really bad. So you might want to think about what the after effects are going to be before you act like that. To the police officers who are taking a knee in front of the protesters and vandals and so on and so forth, get on your damn feet. You didn't do anything. You don't need to apologize for a cop in Minneapolis doing something bad. The first one I saw was the Miami Police Department. Took a knee in front of protesters. Get up on your feet. You didn't do anything. Your job is to serve and protect, not just the protesters, but the rest of the community too. To my brothers and sisters in the military, don't worry about all this. All right? You guys know what a lawful order is. You know what an unlawful order is. To the folks who are just standing by and doing nothing, now's the time to do something. You need to support your local police departments. You need to talk to your congressmen and women. You need to take care of your own communities. These people are doing wrong. They're being criminals, and they're hurting your communities. To the members of Congress who are deciding that you need to legislate and regulate local and state police departments, you need to stay in your own ball field. Your job is the nation. Your job is to represent your constituents, not to represent you and not to represent the people who give you the most money. What goes on at the state and local level is basically none of your damn business. You need to take care of the U.S. Marshals and the FBI and the CIA and so on and so forth. State police and local police and county police don't have anything to do with you, and you don't have anything to do with them. To my friends who are going to see this and think that I am maybe bringing discredit on you and your businesses and so on and so forth, I'm sorry if that is the effect. That's not my intention, but I've had just about enough of this crap. I've seen people online who never say anything about anything who are talking about this now. Just like the Taliban did back a few years ago. Maybe you don't want to awaken the sleeping giant. Maybe you want to think about how this is going to go. Maybe you ought to think about how this should go. You can be civil. You can protest. You can do all of those things without destroying things. That's really all I've got to say on this. I've got a whole bunch more to say, but I'm just burnt out on all of it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. To the loyal channel viewers, sorry about this video. I'll get back to the regular stuff. And I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good day. And see you in the woods. Later.